I've got a cold shoulder. Cry on it if you want to. My name's Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast.
And I'm Guy Pigden.
Shout out straight away to Kev Emsey on the live stream, who's been waiting for us for the last week or so. Shout out to Kev Emsey, who also missed out on some shout outs last week, who was commenting away and we did not see them.
What happened to his comments?
Well, actually, he was commenting on the video, which was already up. Yeah, it wasn't live. Maybe he didn't realize. But shout out to Kev Emsey.
Shout out to Tyler Adams, too, on the live stream. Just popped in.
Kev Emsey might be a woman. I don't know. Shout out to Kev Emsey, though, either way. So, yes, welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast. Still in level 3, COVID lockdown. It's a roller COVID. And I would say it's looking like there is a snowball's chance in hell that I'm going to be going to Christchurch and Wellington on Thursday. It's all but confirmed that I am not going for the film festival that I work for because I heard a rumour from the Prime Minister, so it wasn't really a rumour, that even if we go to level 2 on Tuesday, we will be maintaining the Auckland border. Which does make sense because
it's like
everybody would leave otherwise.
It's like Escape from New York now, where essentially they just cut off New York, they'll cut off Auckland, they'll build a fence around the whole thing, and we'll be stuck in here. And because the problem is people keep getting COVID and then going out.
Yeah,
we've discovered that some guy that's a truck driver's got it now.
Yeah.
How did he get it?
And went back and forth. And now
how did he get it? And now 3 people in the Waikato, which is just out of Auckland area, have also got it. How did they get it?
It escaped. Escaped Auckland. Yeah. So, yeah. So we're going into full panic mode for the film festival. I was meant to be going away for these big opening nights, and now I've got to organise for somebody else to go and have all the fun without me.
To drink and schmooze.
And
act like a big shot.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm really good at that. And
so that's your
specialty.
number one skill.
Yeah. So it's very important, luckily, in the film industry. So pays dividends. But yeah, so that's a bit shit because now I've got to organise everything for someone else to go and do it. So I'm changing flights and hotels and all sorts of sort of paperwork that needs to be done, plus the general briefing of this person who needs to understand what's going on for the evening that I've been preparing for ages. So that's where I'm at. I'll be stuck up here in level 3. Probably not even level 2, realistically.
Well, the decision is going to be tomorrow. About Auckland, apparently. Isn't it tomorrow?
Yep, it's tomorrow.
So tomorrow the government is going to tell us whether we're going to sort of go down a level and ease the restrictions. But everyone's already gone down a level, unfortunately, which has caused the leaks of COVID, I imagine. I just can't imagine. I look outside, I go for a walk or I drive somewhere to do a contactless pickup. I can't help but notice that people are just rocking around free as a bird. And, we did talk about, there's been a protest now through, did you hear about this one?
Yeah. Brian Tamaki, another religious fanatic. Religion, not even once. Okay, religion poisons everything. And here we have our religious nut, Brian Tamaki, and his band of goons having a 2,000 person fucking picnic protest in the park,
different parts of the country, and
inviting children along so that the police won't charge them with batons and beat the shit out of them. So they bring a bunch of children along, call it a family picnic. They're endangering children. They're endangering the whole of our community, but they're also specifically endangering children by bringing them along to catch COVID. So yes, very disappointed with you, Brian Tamaki. I didn't think it was possible for me to be more disappointed with you. You're already a shit stain in the underpants of humanity.
It's interesting.
That's how I'd describe Brian Tamaki.
The police were like, the government were asked about it, and they're like, yeah, it's very disappointing, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, but it's a police matter and how the police proceed with that.
Yeah.
Now, all of those people are breaking the law.
Yeah.
Every single one of those dumb cunts are breaking the law.
Yeah.
And in theory would be
arrestable
or subject to a fine. Now, to me, you just fine them all. Just give them all a fine. Go, cool. That's cost you that dumbass shit that you just did.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations, it's cost you, $500 or $1,000.
Yeah.
So maybe when you think about doing dumbass shit in the future, that is illegal and that is compromising the whole purpose of these lockdowns. You will maybe just think about your wallet and reconsider.
Yeah.
That's what I'd do. But so far they haven't done anything, and they're discussing, they're exploring, but it does become difficult when you get into these protests because, you start punishing a lot of people.
Yeah.
They don't like it.
No, and also civil disobedience. The great strength of civil disobedience is that
Strength in numbers.
They can't arrest us all, right? So J Day, once a year, they have J Day, also not in the Domain, or maybe somewhere, in one of the parks in Auckland and around the country. Actually, they have J Day, and it's everyone goes there and openly and brazenly smokes cannabis. And the police walk through, and there's just nothing they can do, because if they arrest one, they sort of really have to arrest everybody.
Because what are you going to do? You can't. There's not enough room to arrest everyone.
Well, the thing is, though,
just arrest Brian Tamaki. He organised it.
Yeah,
and find the fuck out of the cunt.
Yeah, but the problem is, you're just finding him their money because they pay for him.
That's the sad part. He'll go, my brothers, my sisters, the law has unjustly come down upon me, and I am reaching out to you to give me the money to pay for it so I don't have to, because that's exactly the type of shit that's how I literally run this whole organization.
This whole scam.
You pay for me to live a very comfortable and rich lifestyle.
Yeah, and his flock are like poor people. So the people that go to his church a lot of them are not really very rich people, and statistically a lot of them are Pacific and Māori as well. And then these are the people with higher vaccination rates, unvaccinated rates, that's according to the article I read today. Yes. And so he's taken his followers who are more at risk and putting them all in the same place at risk, and also charging everybody and making them pay tithes. And some people sell their houses and stuff to give this goober their fucking money. And it's like, Christ, religion, not even once. It's so harmful even when it's not physically hurting people. Well, you're giving away your money because you believe in a Skydaddy, and you also believe that this Skydaddy talks to you through Brian Tamaki. That's harmful for you. It's harmful for society.
Like that's your next rap or your next poem.
What?
Brian Skydaddy.
Skydaddy. Yeah. Yeah. Spank me, Skydaddy. Spank me, Skydaddy. Maybe that's the name of the episode.
Yeah, I like it. That's really good.
Spank me, Skydaddy. I'll change it.
Right. Oh, you're changing it.
Well, no, I'm not changing it now, but because I called it a roller COVID. But that's quite good too, because we are in a roller COVID.
And Kif
Imzi
says it's safe to say you guys are not fans of religion. Well, Harley is not a fan of religion.
You're a big fan.
I am, what's the word?
Indifferent.
Yes, I am indifferent to religion. I see how it can help people deal with the existential crisis that we're all faced with. And I do see the value in the community and sort of helping each other aspect that religion can do. But unfortunately, there are many caveats. If it was only that, I'd be a huge fan of it. But unfortunately, there's a lot of other things. And unfortunately, religion is frequently utilized. So people's faith is sort of utilized to create, exactly these types of things. A protest for a guy who doesn't like a thing that's happening because he's not collecting as much money as he'd like for his church. So he mobilizes his church to do the dumbest thing possible and undercut the whole point of a lockdown.
That motherfucker as well Destiny Church has been claiming the wage subsidy as well. Fucking scumbag. He's not paying tax on a lot of stuff because it's a religious thing, and for some reason we make special rules for religion. And then he's also getting the wage subsidy from the hard-working New Zealand taxpayer, while at the same time getting a handout from the people who, from his membership. So
He's double dipping.
He really is. He really is a leech. He's a leech on New Zealand.
Yeah. Well, Kifemisi says they have a friend who was killed by religion. So I'm with Harley on this one.
All right. Rock on. Religion has killed a lot of people. So
It's true.
It's true. Now, I've been watching the show back on the live stream sometimes when I'm editing it and so on. So let us know, by the way, Tyler Adams, if it sounds okay, if we both sound approximately the same level and all that stuff. But I've noticed that your lens is making me look quite fat over on the edge of the frame here. I feel like your lens is just really added, making me look kind of wider than normal. And also, it seems to have been giving me a double chin somehow as well.
Well, look, it has had the same effect on me.
Well, it's because it's
It's
we're
a
at the
wide
edge of the
angle
lens.
lens,
We're at
wide
the edge
angle
of the
lens,
lens, and at the edge of the lens, you look fatter on a wide angle.
I've got
lens.
some bad news for you.
It's not a wide angle lens.
No, it is a wide angle lens, but it's zoomed in. So we're
Right.
not actually at the wide angle
Right.
where it would distort and widen our
Yes.
features. We're at the center point of the lens
I
now,
see.
as
Yeah.
it's zoomed in for this most, which is the most accurate.
Well, I don't look too bad this week. I think it's my outfit. I've got to lay off those vests. I feel like those vests are making me look a little chunky. Or the lens or something. It's certainly not all the food and beer that I've been eating and drinking during lockdown, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the thing. Lockdown has not been good for the health. If I would say the most negative thing about lockdown is the health cost to us all. It's making us all obese. Because what are you gonna do in a day? Like, if you can't, you're gonna go out and do your exercise, but you're not meant to be, out and about. You can't go to gyms. Like,